Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. I am Jackie Horton, your virtual life and health coach. I welcome you to Friday's session. And Friday's session will be called the Village Circle. It would be an open discussion on a live stream regarding different, various serious topics. So today I wore my logo t shirt, and hopefully in the future I'll be able to get this in the on the screen so you can see more of it and support my business. So today, just want to remind you the channel is basically to promote wellness and health, to amplify long-standing solutions, and to finally identify strengths that you, me, and the community can build upon. So today is the eve of Father's Day. And I know that Father's Day can be a triggering situation for many. And so I just kind of want to talk a little bit about that and some experience that I've had. Years ago, when I was working in a nonprofit, we received a grant called the Fatherhood Grant. And what that grant provided was it was written by a psychologist, a one black male psychologist, and a pastor. Um, and the curriculum was really for us to have a um, a structured strategy to reach men who are fathers. Because one of the things that we noticed was that men were invisible, not because once we found out it was due to their choice. It was usually through other reasons, such as the mother and the father were no longer together. There was some court involvement. There was some distancing in place. Um, there was factors where the father or the mother had remarried and lost contact and so forth. So it was a variety of reasons. But the approach was to really help us strategically reach fathers and keep them engaged in their child's school and education um, life. And so when I initially was selected to help facilitate the groups, the reason that I was because they only wanted a person with a master's in social work. And I did have men on my staff, but they mostly had bachelors. And so it was just kind of like part of the grant requirement. However, I appreciated going through the curriculum because one of the things that the trainers had to do before they trained the trainer was go through the curriculum. And I can tell you that it really was a shifting for me. It really lifted my heart even more so for fathers. And it softened me and it also changed my perspective on how to reach men in general. So, with that being said, um, I later on sort of took components of that curriculum and sort of revised it in the settings that I was in. So one year I worked in a mental health, a behavioral health outpatient center, and then, unfortunately, the most of my consumers were males, and so I created different. Exercises, for them that was based on, the experiences that they had with their own fathers. One of the experiences is, how to put on a tie. And it was really fun and it was somewhat emotional for me because the older gentlemen, the seniors, just got up and just put the tie, basically model how to put a tie on, then walked other young men through that process. And it was quite transforming based on what the other gentleman shared. And then, one of the things in the training that I wanted to share about father and daughter's relationship, I obviously was comfortable with the consumers to share my relationship with my father. My father is deep South man, very, very direct, okay, and very clear on expectations and what he says is what it is. And I think one of the things that, based on how I shared my perspective of that, I think people sort of were a little bit distant behind it because I wasn't daddy's girl and all that, and you still you do all that. It was quite very um, very structured in a sense of like there was more parameters around expectation than trying to be coddled. But for me, the way that my dad coddled me or let me know I was daddy's girls because he had references for me. Like he did refer to me as a star, and he said, "You know, you my star," and he would say, "I do love you," and things like that. So for me, I thought the balance was good. So later on in life, I started to think about other father figures in my life, one being my uncle. And I'm just going to use initials for the purpose of this. DW, he, was a male figure in my childhood, all the way through my young adulthood. And pretty much he was similar to my father, very direct, understood expectations. He did give and do for you, but he also was not that emotional, coddling type of father. But I do know having him there made a difference in my life. Uh, and then I met when my mother married my stepfather, CGH. Not only did I inherit a stepfather, I inherited a family. So, and this family is still very much a part of my life. I inherited two stepsisters as a result of that union. Um, and so and then from there, my children's father, RTV, similar to my dad. As you can see, there's a structure, very direct on expectation, very clear, not a coddling type of man. But I knew, I one thing I knew was with all these men, they were reliable. I was always very clear and on like what our interactions would be like. And I would say I did feel safe and secure as a result of that. Um, and then um, and then my brother, one of my brothers, is a father, and he's one of those fathers. Even though he's real direct, he's very a coddling father, and I think it's really sweet when I see him with his children. He's very loving. You see the hugs, you see the smiles, you see the kisses, and so forth. And so I do think there is some transformation in men over time in how they interact with their children. They do allow themselves to be more nurturing as well. And then my final, my final, or one of my final, but one of the most monumental father figures that I've had was my spiritual father through my church, and I never had a pastor refer to himself as a spiritual father, and some of our members do refer to him as dad, and took me some time to get used to that, but once I got used to it, it did feel right, and he did respond. So, Pastor Tony, I want to thank you for being my spiritual father. And years ago when I joined your church, I think my daughter was about one, and you said a word that I felt was from God was, "If you stay with you, my life would never be the same again." And I just want to let you know that, yeah, you kept your word. My life has not been the same since I joined VCMI and you became my spiritual dad. So, with that being said, whatever you're thinking about your fathers or whatever a father may be going through right now, I lift you up right now. I hope that your situations change with your children, and I hope that you start to transform as well. So I want to say happy Father's Day to all the men that I referenced today and all the men that are out there that might see this YouTube channel. And I want to thank all the men that I worked with as a profession. And you guys have a great weekend. And thanks for watching the channel. And so please subscribe, hit the like button. I am on Instagram as well as on Facebook. And I'm trying to think if there's any other thing I need to mention because people give me recommendations. In the meantime, I will see you next Monday. I will not be going live on the weekend like I had thought I would. I'll give us a break. All right. You have a blessed one. And thank you so much again for joining me today.